Hello everyone. If you like this audiobook and want to listen to more, please consider subscribing. And if you like this video, like it as well, that it enjoy.
The Red Dragon of Domination. 2 weeks swiftly passed. School was neither boring nor very exciting. I liked learning new stuff. The Japan of this world had slight changes from the reality I remembered. This was likely due to the supernatural world being real even if it was hidden from the general public. At the end of my first week I had finally bought a new house with part of the money I had in my inventory. Currently it was being renovated since even if I was trying to be modest, I had gotten used to living in luxury. I was informed that it would be ready no later than today, the 13th of April. Currently I was walking towards the real estate office to finish up some paperwork for the deed to the new property I had bought. I heard a commotion when I was passing a park. I walked over and sighed when I noticed what was going on. A scantily clad woman with dark hair was standing over Issei, a manic grin on her face as she held a crackling spear of purple light. Ding. Quest assigned. The Red Dragon Emperor, Hyodo Issei has just been mortally wounded by the fallen angel Rainer. Save or let him die. Kill or subdue Rainer of the Fallen. Rewards. 1x Gacha draw. The reward isn't much, just one draw from the Gacha. Still, I did make a vow to protect the weak. I stepped forward, my mind already calculating my actions. Cursed energy flowing through my body as the elder blood sang in my veins. I was prepared to cut the fallen angel into pieces and teleport at the same time. Rainer looked up and sneered, "Oh my, seems we have a witness. We can't have that now, can we, boyfriend?" She glanced down at Issei, raising her foot to crush his head into a pulp. I reacted instinctively and flicked out my fingers. Rainer's eyes widened as her leg was promptly severed above the knee. She nearly collapsed but used her wings to fly up to catch herself. "You wretch, you'll pay for that," she screamed in a mix of pain and rage. She flung 2 light spears at me which I weaved around, letting the spears shatter the ground behind me. I glanced at Issei's cooling body and sighed. I need to end this fast, Rias is probably on her way. I really don't want to reveal myself just yet. I raised my hands and formed a hand seal, one different from the one I had used to activate my unfinished domain expansion over a year ago now. It was the inverted seal that Sukuna used for his, with my pointer and pinky finger steepled while my middle and ring fingers were curled inward. Rainer laughed. "Are you praying to your god? Foolish heathen, your god will not saw." Domain expansion. Rainer froze, her eyes widened as my voice seemed to vibrate through the air. A truly massive spike of cursed energy erupted from my body as I began to impose my domain into the world around us. Hell's Feast. The sky immediately turned blood red as a brilliant ring of violet flames burst from my feet and ignited a massive ring around the entire park. At the same time, everything outside the ring of purple flames started to fade away, slowly being replaced by an endless scene of carnage. Rainer crashed into the ground as her wings were obliterated by thousands of unseen slashes. The stubs of her wings flickered with my purple flames. "Sorry," I muttered, "you're just following orders. I would have spared your life, but I can't have anyone knowing I exist yet. Repent in your next life." I thrust my hands forward and a pillar of purple flames rose from the ground and consumed the fallen angel. I dropped my domain, letting reality bleed back into the park. The domain expansion had consumed a chunk of my cursed energy, but I still had enough to cast it 4 more times before I ran dry. I sighed and looked over to the crumbling fountain and Issei's dead body. I winced when I noticed that the corpse was half burnt from being too close to my flames. Ding. I ignored the notification again. I had noticed a red glowing magic circle begin to appear from the corner of my vision. Rias was going to make her entrance and I wasn't planning to stick around. I vanished in a flash of blue-green light. Unbeknownst to me, an orb of green light had shot out of Issei's body and into mine. I reappeared in an alley behind the real estate office. I straightened my clothes and calmly walked towards out of the alley and towards the doors of the office. Hopefully Rias can resurrect Issei, I mentally mused. Despite him being an unrepentant pervert, he wasn't a terrible person. I quickly wrapped up the paperwork, signing a few documents I thoroughly read through before the agent handed me a manila envelope containing the deed and keys to my new house. I gave a short nod of my head, only partially listening to the agent as he congratulated me on my new home and thanked me for my purchase. I stepped back into the alley and teleported back to my living room. Anna was watching TV with Miette in her arms. She glanced my way briefly. "Welcome home, my love." Then her attention was back on the soap opera that she was watching. I chuckled at the sight. Anna had recently discovered television and had immediately been addicted to soaps. Thankfully the show was dubbed in English so I didn't have to sit with her and translate. I was making an effort in trying to teach her Japanese and she seemed to take the lessons well. It was just slow since she was learning a whole new language and writing system. "The new house is ready, we can move in after I have the moving company transfer all our stuff from here," I noted as I sat next to her, taking Miette from her arms. My daughter giggled happily and started poking at my face while babbling about something only she could understand. Good, this place is far too cramped, Anna replied without looking away from the TV. Killed a fallen angel today. That's wonderful, my love, she replied absent-mindedly. Also burnt a dead body. She leaned against my shoulder. Also, I think one of my classmates can see through clothes. She's been staring at my crotch a lot lately. She finally pulled her gaze away from the TV. What? I chuckled. Yeah, her name is Ika or whatever. People claim that she can calculate a man's length without even seeing them naked. No, Anna frowned. Have you been unfaithful, my love? She asked with a smile that promised pain. Not at all. I tried to kiss her but she placed a finger on my lips. What is it? We need to speak. She looked serious. I definitely did not gulp. Oh, that's not good. Scene break. Turns out, it was nothing bad. I have seen some of that anime you mentioned. Right, I replied, cautiously as I had no idea where this conversation could lead. A common trait that the heroes share is a harem. Sure, some of them do have freakishly large harems. What's this about, babe? I asked. Anna hummed. I believe I wish to try this harem. What, am I doing something wrong? I asked, panic straining my voice. No, Anna laughed, not at all. I just think that you require some servant girls to satisfy your needs while I am not available. But why? I'm happy with you as is. We have a daughter, I replied. Because, my dear Ken, I want some girls to play with. My eyes widened. Anna. She rolled her eyes. Please, I'm no fool. My father had mistresses and my mother had lovers of her own. I frowned. I'm not sharing you with anyone else. And I feel the same. What I want is for us to share a few more lovers. Anna replied easily. I'm not into men. No men, the only man I ever want in my life is you. She quickly responded. What, so you want us to be swingers? I chuckled, panic leaving my body. I know not what that means, but I do want another woman to warm our bed. Sure, I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I guess I can try if it's for you. Now, I'm not a simp, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't go out of my way to spoil my wife. I had realized this after a few months of dating Anna Henrietta. She didn't demand much from me, just love and attention, but she was like all other women. She loved being spoiled. That does not mean you are allowed to bed every woman you see. She clarified. Okay, I must give the final approval before we invite another into our bed. She added. That's fine, what brought this on though? You're too much for me sometimes. Anna sighed. I know not what you truly are, my love, but your endurance makes me feel inadequate on occasion. So it's not my performance. No, she giggled, you perform very well, my love. She gave me a sultry look that had us putting me to bed for an afternoon nap before we stumbled into the bedroom tearing at each other's clothes. Scene break. Anna was blissfully asleep next to me, the moonlight filtering through my window catching her auburn hair making it seem like it was glowing. I hummed in appreciation to her beauty, brushing a strand of her hair off her face. I laid back and mentally called forth the notifications I had ignored earlier in the day. Congratulations, you have completed the quest. The Red Dragon Emperor. Hyodo Issei has just been mortally wounded by the fallen angel Rainer. Save or let him die. Kill or subdue Rainer of the Fallen. Rewards issued. 1x Gacha draw. Congratulations, for killing the main character of the story High School DxD, you have significantly changed the plot. For your achievements you have earned 3x Gacha draws. Wait, what do you mean I killed the main character? He had already been dead when I arrived. Unless accidentally burning his body had counted, I didn't see how I could have killed him. I felt conflicted. I didn't know if I had killed Issei or if I had merely ensured that he had stayed dead. I felt something within me shift. It took a fair amount of effort, but I managed to keep my cursed energy contained so that Anna and Miette didn't wake up from the sudden surge of negative energy in me. Then a deep voice echoed through my mind. Oh ho, what a peculiar turn of events, a new host, and one that dealt the final blow to my old host. Nani the fuck, worry not, for I, the Red Dragon of Domination, why Drake Gok shall elevate you into my finest host yet. For you are now the Red Dragon Emperor. Alright, sorry about that, killing your old host I mean. Bah, he would have made a terrible host. It is why I chose you, you are strong. You have the potential to surpass even Great Red. I can feel it, and now that I am bound to your soul, I can see it. Wait, you chose me. Indeed, I may have not been conscious when I was within that perverted lad, but I had enough awareness to sense his abysmal magic capabilities and poor habits. What now then? I hope you know that I will be doing my best to not get too involved with the supernatural world. Are you? That's strange, especially for someone like you. What do you mean someone like me? Lad, are you not aware of what you truly are? I'm human, aren't I? Well, I guess you could classify me as a jujutsu sorcerer. Yes, I can sense this sorcery in your blood, But, are you truly unaware of your own kind? Stop playing the damn pronoun game and tell me, what do you mean, my own kind? Lad, no, partner, you are a yukai. What the fuck? Ah, I see, your own memories have been altered and your bloodline sealed. I may have just awoken fully, but I believe I had enough strength to break these seals. I unseal them, I need to know. Very well, but this may be painful, partner, when you are ready. Do it, I screamed. 34 comments 0 vote. I'm a catboy. The pain was unbearable, and I had been stabbed through the gut. Anna had woken up, Miette was crying. Anna was on the verge of tears. I wanted to comfort them, to tell them that I was alright, but I was a captive to the memories flying through my mind. Do you remember what it's like to be a baby? I do. Memory sequence. My vision was blurry, I felt a hand impact my backside and I started bawling. Then I was placed into the arms of a woman who smiled at me with warmth that reminded me of the sun. She had long white hair and golden eyes. She planted a kiss on my forehead, making me giggle happily. Then another baby was placed in her arms. The other baby had black hair like mine, and golden eyes too. Twins, this is a miracle, Fujimazan, the wet nurse told my mother. What are their names? A strange older woman with hair like a calico cat's fur asked Fujimai, my mother. My mother shifted the arm holding me. This one will be Kentaro. Then she shifted her other arm, and this is Kuroka. The memory shifted. I was sitting next to my twin sister being fed by an attendant while our mother argued with an unseen man. No, I refuse to let them be used as test subjects for your experiments. She snapped. You have no choice in this, they are my children too. Oh, now they're your children. I thought they were just pets. The word, pets, was spat out like a curse. The memory shifted again. I could only helplessly watch as my mother tearfully caressed my face. She set me down and tucked a note into my blankets. I am so sorry, Kenshin, but this is the only way. I cannot lose both my children. That man has already, she sobbed, your sister. I must go or they'll get suspicious. Always remember, my sweet baby boy, Mama loves you. She took out what looked like a talisman of some sort, then gently placed it on my forehead. Giggling, I reached out to grab her fingers, but she tearfully pulled them away. I'm sorry, she whispered one last time before making a seal with her hand. My vision went white. Memory sequence end. Entero. Kentaro. Someone was violently shaking me. I blinked away the stars from my vision and looked around. I was back in my bedroom, Anna hovering over me, a hand on my shoulder and a look of panic on her face. My love, what happened? You just started screaming before you fell unconscious, then I couldn't wake you. I felt something moist at the side of my face. I brushed it away and realized it was a tear. I looked at Anna again and pulled her into a hug. She held me tightly, her breathing still erratic as she clutched at me as if to make sure I wouldn't vanish. What's wrong? She asked. I've regained some memories. I pulled away, voice rough from the screaming. I remember my mother, and my sister. What happened? I wasn't abandoned as a child as I had thought. My mother apparently hid me away from my father, who wished to experiment on me and my twin sister. I was still internally reeling from the memories I had regained. Diedrag had remained silent, either to give me privacy or because unsealing my memories had taken a bit out of him. That is awful. What happened after? I shook my head. I don't know, though it explains why I couldn't remember much of my life before the orphanage. Miette was staring at the both of us, wide-eyed and still teary-eyed. I sighed softly and picked up my daughter. She cooed and patted my face as if to comfort me. It's okay, my little princess, Daddy is okay now. Miette giggled and grabbed at something on my head. I froze when I felt her fingers grab onto something on the top of my head. I forgot to mention, why do you have the ears and tail of a cat now? Anna asked. I touched the top of my head and felt two fuzzy cat ears where there had been nothing before. They involuntarily twitched. A shudder shot through my spine. I glanced over to Anna, who was now brushing my tail, both fuzzy black cat tails. It took an hour of messing with my cursed energy before I managed to retract my newly discovered feline features. I can't believe I'm a damned cat boy now, I mentally grumbled. I could have sworn I heard Diedrag laughing somewhere within my soul. The next morning I silently ate breakfast with Anna. Miette was guzzling milk from her bottle, blissfully ignorant of the somber air over the table. What will you do now? Anna asked. I go looking for answers. My family is out there. Anna reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Our family, love, they're our family. I smiled softly at her. Yes, and I will find them. And if someone has hurt them, then you must show them the error of their ways. A vindictive look flashed across Anna's face. Yes, I nodded once. I knew where one sister was at least. Kaneko, she had inherited my mother's looks from what I remembered from the anime. A baby sister so close yet so far, and a twin who was God knows where. I clenched my jaw. Damn, I'll probably have to reveal myself. Miette and I will always be here for you, my love. Anna comforted me. It's fine, I sighed, I just wish I could have stayed anonymous for a bit longer. Anna brushed her thumb across my knuckles. Go, you'll be late. I rolled my eyes. Yes, school is definitely something I should be worrying about right now. I bid my wife and daughter goodbye and erected another veil over my apartment. We would be moving out soon, but I still wasn't taking any chances. Especially with everything I had learned from my unsealed memories. I waved at a few acquaintances, ignored the hateful stares from the male students, and changed into indoor footwear at my locker. As I was walking to class, one was so busy thinking of how to go about getting answers that I barely felt it when a figure bumped into me and fell onto the ground with a yelp. I looked down and stiffened for a moment before composing myself. Watch where you're going. Kaneko stopped talking as her eyes met mine, then her golden eyes narrowed. Sorry about that, I chuckled. Here, let me help you up. I held out a hand. She gingerly took it before going back to staring at me. You look familiar, she hummed, very familiar. I've been going to school here for almost a month now, I replied. She nodded. Okay. Then she walked away, a little too quickly. Damn, imagine that, running into one of my sisters. She really does look like Fujim, our mother. I shook my head and continued walking to class. Scene break. The day could not have gone any slower. I half listened to the lecture while staring at my status screen. Name: Kentaro. Age: 19. Race: Nekosho. Title: Unlikely Monarch not set. Skills and perks: Photographic memory passive. Yukai physiology passive. Divine Gacha active. Shrine active. Cursed energy manipulation active. Reverse curse technique active. Domain expansion active. Elder blood passive. Elder blood teleportation active. The world active. Boosted gear active. Inventory: $2,931, 315,726,902 yen. Rias Grimori's bathwater. Evil pieces 15/15. Creative provisions: Mjolnir. Dark Sister. Dusk. Hen Gaith armor set. Pika Pika no Mi. Return home token. Water of instant depression. 4x gacha draws. The list of items in my inventory went on for quite a bit. I had lots of stuff stored. Thankfully it seemed to automatically organize itself to have the more important stuff higher up on the list. I also took in my fairly impressive set of skills and abilities. Ho, what an interesting ability, partner. If I didn't know any better, I'd think you had a second sacred gear. I was surprised for a moment to hear his voice. I dismissed the status screen and pretended to read the history book on my desk. You're awake then? What happened after you unsealed my memories? I wasn't asleep if that's what you're asking, partner. I was going through your memories with you, though I'm surprised that I never saw this screen of yours in any of your memories before. It's a recent development. I evaded answering for now. I didn't know how he'd react to finding out what I knew. It was nice to see that the divine gacha was hidden from him though. I understand keeping secrets, but we are partners, are we not? You can trust me, partner. I mentally sighed. Fine, I have some innate techniques. One of them is that screen you saw. Innate techniques, huh? I am no stranger to strange and unique skills. One of my previous hosts defeated a man who summoned familiars using shadow puppets. No fucking way. Do you remember that man's name by chance? If I'm not mistaken, he said his name was Zenon. Why, is it related to your innate techniques? Yes, buddy, I think this damn world just got bigger and I have no idea how to feel about it. You don't need to worry, partner. I'm sure that together, we can become a force of nature. Pause shift. Kaneko, Sharon Tuju. That new student is definitely weird, but at least he isn't a pervert. Speaking of perverts, Bushu had apparently failed to resurrect the pervert. Well, not really. The resurrection had worked, but something had gone wrong. The pervert, Hyodo Issei, only took one pawn to resurrect, which was unexpected, since I had confirmed it myself that the stupid perv had some sort of strong dragon-type sacred gear. It should have taken several more pawn pieces to resurrect him, but it hadn't. It had only taken one, and he had nearly died afterwards, again. I wondered why Bushu had even bothered keeping the pervert around. He wasn't any good at anything. His grades were abysmal, he was terribly out of shape, and his only redeeming factor was that you could kick his ass and no one would care. I thought about that new student again, Kentaro Senpai, a third-year student like Bushu and Akino. He looked so familiar, I felt as if I had seen him before. His eyes especially, his eyes were the same color as mine and hers. I waited for the lunch bell to go off before quickly leaving class and moving as fast as I could to the occult research clubroom. Inside, Bushu was laying on the couch watching a new episode of the anime she had been binging the whole weekend before. Bushu, I called out. She hummed, oh, Koniko-chan, what's up? The new kid, what about him? Rias Senpai asked, focusing back on her anime. He's weird. Era, Akino-senpai giggled, did our little mascot discover a juicy secret? I shook my head. No, he looks and smells familiar. Oh, Rias finally looked away from her TV. Do you think he knows about the supernatural? I shook my head again. Sona Kaichu confirmed that he's human. Maybe he has a sacred gear, Kiba-senpai said from his chair. Unlikely, unless something has changed recently. Rias replied, if you want, you can take Issei and go keep an eye on him. I nodded, we'll go after school, he lives close by. TCH, why do I have to go stalk some pretty boy? I'd rather go look at some boobs. Everyone glared at the pervert. I crossed the room in a blur and slammed my fist into his stomach as hard as I could without killing him. The pervert senpai crashed into a wall with a pained groan and collapsed unconscious. Pervert, I muttered before stepping out of the room. I heard Rias Bushu sighing as the door closed behind me. Akino, pick him up, oh for Lilith's sake, stop whining you worthless pervert. I smirked to myself. 34 comments 0 vote. Was that a JoJo's reference? I walked hand in hand with Anna. Miette was in a little baby carrier that I was wearing. I had returned home at the end of the school day and immediately stored everything in my apartment into my inventory as we got ready to move to the new house. It wasn't far from the school, only 10 more minutes away compared to my old apartment. The real estate agent had come by to give us a tour of the newly renovated space. It wasn't small by any means. I had sunk nearly 30 million yen into the place. It wasn't a palace, but it was damn close. 6 bedrooms, 5.5 bathrooms, a large living room, and a nice backyard with a koi pond and modest garden. It used to belong to some Yakuza boss or something from what I gathered in the listing, but the man had been arrested and all his assets seized. The price was pretty low due to several bodies having been discovered buried where the garden now stood. It wasn't haunted, there would be no ghostly little boys running around my new Japanese-style estate. I had visited one night while the renovations were still underway to make sure and exorcise anything lingering in the property. Fortunately, there wasn't anything to exorcise. The agent gave one final bow before leaving in his tiny car. Anna had taken Miette to the koi pond while I walked the real estate agent out. Once I was sure that the coast was clear, I began unloading all the furniture and appliances I had stashed in my inventory. The space was much larger, so I made a note to go and buy or order some more stuff to fill the empty spaces. There was something aesthetically pleasing about living in a traditional Japanese-style house to me. The sliding paper-framed doors, the tatami mat flooring, the exposed wood beams. It made me feel more like an anime protagonist than being in an actual anime world did. Anna and Miette stepped in a moment later. Anna changed into slippers before shuffling over to the living room and sitting on the couch I had just moved to position with Miette playing with her hair. The doorbell rang, making me stop what I was doing. Sighing, I walked over to the front gate where I spotted 2 people I wasn't expecting to see. Koniko-san, pervert, what brings you here? Honestly, I was pretty surprised to see Issei. The Gacha had awarded me for killing him after all. Ah, my previous host, the devils must have resurrected him. Though I don't know why, he is no longer a sacred gear wielder. I mentally noted what Diedrich said. I would have thought his soul would have been damaged after you left him. Is that not how sacred gears work? Diedrich was silent, seemingly thinking about my question. I focused back on my unexpected visitors. Kentaro-senpai, you moved. Kaneko asked. Yeah, but what does that have to do with you? TCH, Bushu sent us to check on you, you damn pretty boy. Issei snapped. I glanced at him, then back to Kaneko. Again, I have to ask, why does it matter if I move? I've cleared everything with the school board. I bought this house with my own money. There's no rule against not staying in assigned housing. Kaneko blushed a little before bowing and grabbing Issei by his collar and dragging him off. I scoffed. They weren't very subtle about spying on me. Diedrich, you still there? I am, partner. To answer your earlier question, yes. Normally the removal of a sacred gear from a host will irreparably damage the soul of the host. However, the soul of a host will not be damaged if the host is already dead before the gear is removed. I guess that makes sense, a little. I'll just blame it on magical mumbo-jumbo and call it a day. It shouldn't affect me, right? Your old host being alive? No, not at all. His continued existence will not hinder our growth whatsoever. Okay, good. I don't want to suddenly have to fight him for control over you. It wouldn't be fair. For him. Ha, as if that boy would lose a fight against his own shadow. That's just sad. I went back to my home and shut the door after making sure the 2 had left completely. I called out to Anna as I switched back to my indoor slippers. Babe, what do you want for dinner? I'm feeling like having steak and potatoes. Scene break. Miette was taking a nap as a baby should. Anna was watching her soaps while also keeping an eye on our sleeping daughter. I had stepped out to get groceries after getting a little antsy just sitting at home doing nothing. I couldn't explain it. It was like I was actively seeking something, a fight, anything. Don't get me wrong, I loved spending time with my wife and kid. But I had just discovered that I was part of the supernatural world here, whether I liked it or not. With the groceries tucked safely away in my inventory, I walked through town just taking in the sights and sounds. I hadn't really explored Kuo beyond the surrounding neighborhood around the school. I pretended not to notice a very conspicuous white cat following me around. I heard a yelp and a loud thud. I turned my head and spotted a suitcase literally burst open, sending various pieces of clothing scattering across the sidewalk. Next to the busted open suitcase was a little blonde girl dressed in a nun's habit rubbing her butt with a pained look on her face. "Are you alright?" I asked her. She blinked at me. "You speak Italian? Oh thank God," she exclaimed happily, seemingly having forgotten that she had just ate shit on flat ground. "Huh, am I speaking Italian?" I muttered, making the nun look at me in confusion. "Partner, I forgot to tell you that I've taken the liberty of implanting my previous host's knowledge of language into your mind." "That's very considerate, thank you Ddrake," I mentally replied to him. Excuse me sir," the nun blushed, "do you happen to know where this address is?" She held out a scrap of notebook paper. First don't call me sir, I work for a living, second, sure. I can help you out. What's your name by the way? Oh, thank you so much sorry. She looked down, her blush growing. My name is Asia Argento. I chuckled, relax, I'm just kidding. I hold a knighthood, so technically I am sir. My name's Kentaro, but you can just call me Ken. She bowed, oh, nice to meet you Sir Kentaro, thanks for helping me. She smiled brightly. For some reason I felt like protecting her. Ddrake shifted in my soul letting me know that he felt the same way. Let me help you with your luggage first, then we can go see about getting you where you need to g. Grumble, quote, she blushed even more, I just patted her head with a smile. Well then, looks like we need to take a little detour. Right, luggage first, then let's get something to eat, my treat. I chuckled. Oh no, I couldn't impose on you like that Sir Kentaro. She shook her head. Unfortunately for her, her stomach disagreed, very vocally. Grumble, come on, and please, just call me Ken. I laughed at the blush on her face. I helped her pack up her suitcase again, then led her to a nearby ramen house. I held back my amusement as I watched her practically drool over the basic tonkatsu ramen I had ordered for her. She struggled with the chopsticks so I ended up getting her a fork. She apologized again but I waved her off. This girl hasn't had an easy life, that much is obvious. Probably sheltered too with how trusting she is. After we finished our meal, I walked with her as we made our way to the address on the slip of paper she had handed me. When we arrived I couldn't help but frown. We were standing outside of the gates of a dilapidated church. It looked like it had been abandoned for years. Asia, you sure this is the right place? Maybe the person that gave you that address was messing with you. She shook her head. This is the right place, Father Selzin is supposed to meet me here. Right, I hummed. I felt the cloying aura of negativity radiating from the church. Not only was the place abandoned, but it was also steeped with darkness. Sending an innocent nun to this place seemed like the setup to a trap. My thoughts were confirmed when the doors slowly swung open and a lanky silver-haired man wearing a black robe stepped out. Oh look what we have here, a shitty human has wandered in. The robed man said in a raspy voice. Asia smiled when she saw him, seemingly ignorant of the insulting words he had just said. Father Selzin, she called out to him. I made note of the disgusted look that flashed across his face when he saw her. Get over here witch, he sneered. Asia's smile was replaced with a sad look as she began to walk forward. I sighed, putting a hand on her shoulder I stopped her. Wait, I don't trust that man. She looked at me in confusion, but Nah, I don't give a fuck who he is. He looks like a pedophile, I think I'll take you to the police station instead. I glanced at the silver-haired man, his face had morphed into one of fury. What did you call me you shitty mortal? I rolled my eyes. Oh I'm sorry, I mean to say. He looks like he fucks corpses because that's the only way he'll ever get any action. Asia's eyes grew wide, she looked at the man and took a step back. Is that true Father Sells? Shut up, I'll kill you, the man shouted while he pulled out a silver cylinder. A glowing blade emerged from the cylinder giving me pause. Wait a fucking minute, is that a lightsaber? I believe that man is a stray exoticist, partner, I would advise caution. Nah, I'd win. What? Father Selzin stepped forward, laughing manically, his eyes glinting with insanity. Ho, you're approaching me, instead of running away, you're coming right to me. I drawled. The man hesitated, looking confused. WWA's that a fucking JoJo's reference. I grinned, Za Warudo, Toki yo Tamare. I was internally laughing my ass off as I activated the world's time stop ability. The man's face was frozen in a look of confusion. Ha, I can check that off my bucket list. Partner, you can freeze time. Oh, you're still never mind, you're a part of me, I should have known you wouldn't be affected. Deirdre was silent, probably still reeling in shock at my ability to violate the laws of time. I mentally counted down, I had several seconds left. I pulled out dozens of daggers that I had stashed in my inventory and began to throw them at the man. Might as well go all out if I'm gonna do a dio bit on this douche. I felt the world's hold on time begin to slip, slowly time began to flow again. The daggers I had thrown vanished from where they had frozen and flew right into the still shocked man. He screamed in pain as dozens of steel daggers pierced his body. I struck a pose. Your next words will be, what the fuck was that? Was that some kind of teleportation magic? I rapidly spoke. What the fuck was that? Some kind of fuck you. I laughed loudly. Asia was looking between me and the man I had just turned into a pincushion in shock. Sir Kentaro, what just happened? She asked me. I don't know, I feigned ignorance. Must be God punishing him or something. I fibbed. Her eyes widened, believing my blatant lie. Really? Yes, really. How else would daggers suddenly appear out of nowhere and end up stabbing him? She looked thoughtful. I see. I guess that makes sense. The man shouted at us, Oi, why do you believe him, you shitty nun? Quiet you, just hurry up and bleed out already. I scoffed. 20 comments 0 vote, no kill like overkill. I stepped over to finish off the creep of a priest, which was hilariously ironic considering the reputation that most priests had, when I jumped back as 2 spears of crackling purple slammed in front of me to block my path. I glanced up to the sky, 3 figures floated above me with black wings extended proudly. A man in a trenchcoat, a tiny blonde in a black dress, and a buxom woman with blue hair. Having trouble with a mere mortal freed? I thought better of you. The man in the trenchcoat sneered. Shut up, you, mortal, this is not your place, leave the nun and never return. I stared at him as if he was an idiot. I put a finger to my chin before grinning. How about, no? His 2 female companions flew towards me to attack, they both looked eager to skewer me with light spears. Then die, the blue-haired one screamed in excitement. I turned to check on Asia as if their incoming attacks meant nothing, then I refocused on them when I saw that she was still standing in the same place with a look of concern on her face. Sir Kentaro, she called out to me. I raised my hands, a cocky smile forming on my face. Well, since I have an audience, I might as well show off a little, let's keep this entertaining Rah, the blue-haired one swiped at my head. I leaned back, effortlessly dodging her spear, then I deflected her wing that followed her strike. Spinning gracefully, I also evaded the blonde loli while kicking away the trenchcoat-wearing fallen angel with a flash of black lightning. He screamed in pain. I felt bone shatter beneath my feet as I sent him flying into the priest who had just stood up after pulling out most of the knives I had thrown into his flesh. The blue-haired one charged again, another light spear forming in her free hand as she attempted to stab me again. I flicked my fingers making her scream in pain as her wings were shredded by several dismantle slashes. Calawarner, the blonde loli shouted in panic. Calawarner, that's your name, sounds German, say, are you a Nazi? I looked down at the blue-haired fallen who was glaring at me. The trenchcoat-wearing fallen stood back up, he threw a spear at me that I deflected to the ground with a slap. My hand tingled from touching the spear, but other than that, I didn't feel any pain from contact with the weapon. Filthy human, you'll pay for that, the trenchcoat-wearing fallen shouted. Oh, so you care for each other? I raised an eyebrow. I had expected fallen angels to not care about anything except being douches. I felt the air shift behind me and spun around. My arm shot out and caught something moving at high speed. URKKKK. The priest gurgled as I caught him by the throat. Oh, you can move pretty fast, I'm gonna kill you now though, no hard feelings. Shut up you shitty mortal. He screeched through gritted teeth. He swung the sword he now held towards my head, but he was too slow. I channeled a large amount of cursed energy into my following attack. Countless cleave slashes that turned the priest's body into a fine red mist. His sword clattered to the ground. His sword survived. It must be special then. The fallen angels could only look on as I kicked it up into my hands. Yoink, mine now. It vanished into my inventory, making the fallen look at me in shock. They recovered quickly though and rushed to attack me again. I called out to Asia. Close your eyes, Asia, I'll deal with these villains. The fallen angels drew closer. I raised my hands. Fingers forming into hand seals to unleash my domain. Man, it feels like I've been spamming my domain expansion recently. Who the fuck am I? Sukuna. Domain expansion. The fallen angels froze as my cursed energy burst from me in waves. They were too late to stop. Hell's feast. Scene break. I looked at the smoking crater that used to be an abandoned church. I scratched the back of my head with an awkward chuckle. Aha, I think I might have overdone it. Sir Kentaro. Asia pulled on the hem of my shirt. I turned to her. What is it, Asia? I thank you, she bowed, nearly smacking her forehead into my elbow. I can see that Father Selzen wasn't a good man as I thought he was. And that he was working with fallen angels that have turned away from God's grace. Right, I patted her head, no need to thank me, Asia. Come on, let's go. That explosion probably caught the attention of some devils, we don't want to run into them for now, so I'll take you to my home. I'm sure my wife will be happy to have you. Asia's eyes widened. Sir Kentaro is married. I chuckled, I'm surprised too, my daughter will absolutely love you. Asia blushed, daughter, but you're so young. Thank you, I put a hand on her shoulder, I'm only 19 after all. The kind-hearted girl blinked owlishly as we appeared in my garden in a flash of blue-green light. Anna stepped out of the house with Miette in her arms. My love, oh, you've brought company. Anna, this is Asia, a young priestess. She recently lost her home. Asia, this is my wife, Duchess Anna Henrietta, and my daughter Princess Miette. Asia blinked rapidly, looking between me and my wife and daughter. Oh no, I've been so rude, she bowed quickly, please forgive me my lord, my lady. I laughed and patted her head while Anna looked amused. Please just call me Anna, there's no need for such formalities in this house. Asia and Anna talked while I got started on dinner. I could hear their muffled voices coming from the living room while I shuffled around the kitchen preparing a simple meal of roast chicken and a salad. Moments later I set the table and called for everyone. Anna arrived first, kissing me softly before taking her seat at the table. Asia followed after with Miette in her arms. She was babbling away while Asia just nodded along with a happy smile on her face. I served everyone slices of chicken with their salads. Miette was now suckling away on a bottle of milk. As everyone settled into their plates I began to speak. So, how are you feeling now, Asia? Asia swallowed her mouthful of chicken before replying, you have a wonderful home, Lo. Please just call me Kentaro. I interrupted her. She looked conflicted at first. Kentaro, you and Lady Anna have a beautiful daughter as well. Anna chuckled, yes, our little princess is quite beautiful. I'm sure she will break so many hearts once she's older. I nodded seriously, I'll probably have to get a few sharp shovels to threaten any boys she brings home. Asia giggled, that's so mean, Kentaro. I sighed dramatically, oh, the trials of being a father. I looked over to Anna who was smiling, my love, I think we should take her in. I raised an eyebrow, I knew who she was talking about. Are you sure? I asked her. She nodded, Asia looking between the two of us. I have heard her plight, a blessed maiden of her faith, by all means a saintess. Exiled because of her ability to heal even those with evil hearts. I hummed, memories of a plot in the original show. Asia had been exiled after healing a devil. How a devil made it through so deep into the church was shady as is. It smelled like a plot to me. I could also see why Anna wanted to take in Asia, her situation was reminiscent of Anna's sister. Exiled for something she wasn't in control of. Alright, if it's okay with you, I'll see about getting her some papers so she can stay here permanently. I replied. Anna smiled at me, good, now, why don't you tell us about what you want to accomplish with your time here, dear? She turned her attention to Asia. The blonde former nun blinked in shock at suddenly being the center of attention. I don't know, I guess I want to make more friends. More friends, huh? I guess I could probably enroll you into the school. I added. I thought about how I'd go about doing that. I didn't have a lot of connections unless I went to the devils. I wanted a bit more time before speaking to them though. While I was stronger now, I still didn't think I was strong enough to contend with the heavy hitters of this world. Oh, please don't trouble yourself with me, Sir Kentaro. Asia looked at me with worry. I laughed. It's no trouble, Asia, I'm rich, I'm sure there's no problem I can't deal with by throwing enough money at it. Pa shift. Rias Grimori. Kaneko-chan, what happened here? Kaneko looked at me silently for a moment as if debating what to say. Then she turned to the smoldering crater that she had discovered after tailing Kentaro for most of the day. I followed Kentaro-senpai and the nun he ran into here, then a weird dome appeared, my familiar couldn't get in. I couldn't get in either. When the dome vanished, Kentaro-senpai and the nun were gone. I sighed. I couldn't exactly blame Kaneko for anything. And Issei was useless, the pervert wasn't as valuable as I thought he would be. He had been too busy ogling Kaneko's ass to even notice a barrier. I wondered what sort of magic it was. I hadn't heard of anything human mages in the area, and both Sona and I had confirmed that Kentaro was entirely human. I was starting to have some doubts about him being just a regular human though. He didn't have any sort of magic presence that I could detect. Kaneko did mention that he looked familiar, so there's that too. Maybe I should call Onisan. Boot, I really don't need his brand of cleanliness right now. I'm enjoying the Japanese schoolgirl experience so far and he'd more than definitely do something that'll ruin it. Era, Akano, my best friend and Queen Peace spoke up as she set down a tray of tea, maybe we should invite Kentaro-kun to the club. What? Issei shouted, making the whole club glare at him, no way. That pretty boy come here. No, I refuse. I won't share Bushu or Akinozen with him. Isaizen, I frowned at him, that is not your decision to make, and I don't remember ever being yours. Issei grit his teeth and looked down at his feet, stupid pretty boy. He muttered. He's going to be a problem. I mentally sighed, that's a good idea Akino, remind me during lunch tomorrow, for now, let's just try to enjoy the rest of the day. I would deal with Issei soon, I was already regretting letting him stay in my peerage. With as useless as he was a waste of a pawn piece that I could use to resurrect someone more useful. A magic circle flared to life at the center of the room. I looked up from the manga I was reading and groaned. A silver-haired maid stepped out of the fading teleportation circle and bowed her head at me. Rias-sama, I have come to inform you that your father has pushed the engagement to an earlier date and that your fiancé will be visiting within the next few days to speak with you. Graphia Lucifuge said in an even tone. I grit my teeth in annoyance. Why? Grimori-sama stated that your inaction at treating with the Phoenix Scion that you are to be wedded to has made the Phoenix clan demand for some form of affirmation that you will honor the contract of betrothal. Just one thing after another, Mao damn it. I really don't want to be married to that stupid loser. Fine, I'll meet with him tomorrow. My peerage all looked at me in shock, then I smirked, if only to challenge him to a rating game for my freedom. Graphia bowed her head again, if that is your wish Rias-sama. It is, now please, leave me alone Graphia, I have stuff to do. Graphia's eyebrow twitched, as you wish. She started casting another teleportation spell, I stopped her. And tell my brother that the church may be plotting something in town. I added. A serious look crossed Graphia's face before she nodded and disappeared with the flash of her teleportation circle. I slumped into the couch, manga all but forgotten. I looked to my peerage, we need to make some plans. 9 comments 0 vote, it was you. Turns out, being rich didn't make finding someone to forge identity papers any easier. I had been lucky enough that the orphanage took care of those things for me and I had my own identification papers. It was a bit harder for Asia. I had to do some extensive browsing online to even get started on getting her some paperwork. It was starting to look more and more like I would have to speak with either Rias or Sono. Knowing which one had my sister, though nobody knew it yet, made my choice easier. I was midway through my history class, bored out of my mind listening to the middle-aged teacher prattle on about the Tashio era of Japan when I remembered that I still had 4 gacha draws collecting dust in my inventory. I silently sent a command to the divine gacha to go ahead and spend the draws. Akino Himehima's panties, legendary. The undergarments recently worn by Akino Himehima, the priestess of thunder, they are still warm. The holder of this artifact is granted a 200% boost to all lightning and light-related abilities. What the fuck? I heard Akino yelp silently. I cautiously glanced her way and made note of the fact that she was looking down at her desk. Her ears were turning a shade of red as she trembled in place. Did you just steal her panties off of her, you perverted gacha system? What the shit, what about Rias bathwater, oh god no. I quickly focused on the rest of my gacha pulls and prayed that Akino didn't see me looking her way. Shadow Monarch. Solo leveling, mythic. Grants the title Shadow Monarch as well as the ability to extract the shadow of any fallen foe as long as you have the power to do so. Grants passive immunity to all poisons and toxins. Note: ability is no longer bound to the being known as Ashbourne or the world which this ability originates. I stifled a cough as I nearly choked on my own spit. This was another unfairly overpowered ability that I now had access to. I imagined myself commanding an army of immortal soldiers that obeyed my every command. Elder Wand. Harry Potter, mythic. The Stick of Destiny, the most powerful wand in the wizarding world. One of 3 deathly hallows. Grants the wielder the spell knowledge of all previous holders. Significantly reduces the cost of all spells by 99% as well as boosting all spells cast with this wand by 200%. I felt like I had been doused with cold water as all 3 deathly hallows resonated within my inventory. I felt a searing burn for a moment before it was gone, replaced by the sensation of something within me changing at a fundamental level. Wait, does this make me the master of death now? Am I immortal now? I need answers, damn it. My final reward appeared and I barely spared it a passing glance. But then my eyes widened when I saw exactly what I got. Book of Azothoth Cosmic. Grants The. Redder. Incomprehensible. Power IFTHEREADEMA Grave GTO Diaresis ETA Acute ITESNIY. What the actual fuck, partner, this book you have gained, it's dangerous. I feel that even Great Red pales in comparison with ever being created that book. Be wary of it, partner. Out of all the things I have personally witnessed, this one genuinely scares me. Buddy, you have no idea. Scene break. I sat on the roof silently eating lunch, my excitement at my incredible luck with the gacha overshadowed by what it had decided to reward me with at the end. I knew that name, even if it was near incomprehensible due to the system itself glitching at just saying whose book it was. That was a chilling thought in itself, a nigh-limitless system being unable to comprehend the name of one of them. I was pulled away from my spiraling thoughts by the door to the roof opening and Kaneko stepping into view. She glanced at me and frowned a little. I could see the gears turning in her head, trying to figure out why I looked so much like her estranged sister. As funny as it would be to tell her, I think I'll hold on to that information for now. Kentaro-senpai, Bushu wants to meet you. Oh, did your president say why? Kaneko nodded. It's about our club. You want me to join your club? Why though? It's not like I believe in the supernatural. Kaneko's frown deepened. I just come with me please. I sighed. Fine, since you asked so nicely. I packed away my leftovers and stood up. Kaneko glanced at the box in my hand and I smiled at her. Here, you can have the rest. I can tell you're probably hungry. Kaneko blushed, slowly taking my bento box and nodding in thanks. I followed her out of the regular school building. We made our way towards the wooden building off to the side of the main academy. Your guys' clubroom is in this creepy-ass building. Kaneko shrugged. No one was using it before, the chairman let us have it. Probably because Rias' brother bribed the fuck out of him. Oh, heading to meet with the devil's partner. Ddrake's voice echoed in my head. Yeah, figured it was probably time. Though I'll try my best to seem normal, I want to see how long it takes for them to find out I'm not human. I mentally replied. Regardless, don't do anything foolish, devils are masters of manipulation. Noted. I stepped into the clubroom and looked around. The Akiba was sitting on the windowsill trying to look nonchalant, Kaneko slumped onto the couch, Akino was standing by the desk with a smile on her face, Issei was missing. Rias was nowhere in sight, but from the sound of the shower in the next room, I could tell that she was about to pull something to try and throw me off. Kentaro-kun, please take a seat and have some refreshments, Rias will be out in a little bit. Akino gestured towards the plush couch. What's this about? I glanced at her while I sat down. Oh, nothing crazy, but I'll let our club president tell you herself. The shower turned off, I glanced over to the adjacent room and spotted a near see-through shower curtain around a bathtub that looked out of place. I could see Rias' outline as she dried herself off limb by limb. Good God, she has some massive tits, no wonder that pervert was so obsessed with her. Seduction is a common devil tactic, partner. I know that Ddrake doesn't mean I'll fall for it or that I'm not allowed to admire a sinfully perfect female form. Ha, careful there, what would your lady wife think? She'd probably think the same honestly. I mentally hummed in reply. I sighed and picked up a saucer with a teacup. Sipping the tea slowly, I savored the hot leaf water while I waited for Rias to finish getting dressed. Her peerage just sat around me silently, radiating awkwardness that I could practically feel in the air. So, nice weather we're having, I could have sworn I felt Ddrake facepalm in my soul. Moments later Rias was sitting across from me on the second couch while I continued to sip my tea. She waited for me to set my teacup down before speaking. Kentaro-san, do you believe in the supernatural? She asked. I hummed, like Sasquatch and the Tooth Fairy. I held back a grin when I saw her lips twitch. No, she shook her head, like gods, devils, and angels. I raised an eyebrow when she mentioned gods, without so much as a twitch. Aren't devils supposed to feel pain when they mention gods? Like heaven, hell, and reincarnation. That's less supernatural and more religious faith, Grimori-san. I replied. She paused. I guess. Well, do you believe in that? Are you a religious person? I suppose. I hummed. I couldn't really tell them I was reincarnated or at least, transmigrated into this world. I wasn't all too religious in my past life, sure I dabbled in shady stuff but I never actually believed that magic or the supernatural was real. Now that it was my reality, that was a different matter. How do you view devils? She asked me, not very subtle, though I guess Kaneko was following me and she may have seen me dealing with that shady priest before I put up the veil. Devils, if anything, are honest about what they are, partner. I guess, I wouldn't necessarily call them honest though. Let's go with consistent. Devils are consistent. That works too. Let me answer your question with one of my own. I leaned back against the couch. Did you know that technically devils are just mutated angels? Rias looked confused. Several of her peerage members had matching looks. I knew I had their attention though, so I continued. If you really think about it, in the Abrahamic faith, devils originated from Lucifer, the fallen angel, and a human woman, right? They nodded. So really, devils are just a subspecies of angel, or even Nephilim if you really think about it. I sat back and waited for Rias to reply. Wait, really? Rias looked directly at me. What do you think about devils personally though? I sighed. Real answer. I think they're more like humans than they'd like to admit. I've read plenty of books, I've even read the Bible once or twice. Rias smiled. So if I told you me and my friends here are all devils, what would you do? Hypothetically, right? She nodded. Well, you haven't done anything to me so I wouldn't be too concerned if you were, hypothetically of course. Rias stood up. and stepped in front of me. She placed her hands on her hips, then a pair of bat-like wings snapped open from her lower back. I have decided then, Kentaro-san, join my peerage. I raised an eyebrow. No. Rias immediately deflated while Akino chortled behind her hand. Era, Bushu, you came right out and said it and he said no. PFF'd. Wait, why aren't you surprised? I shrugged, you and Sona aren't very subtle. You didn't even bother changing your names. Sona changed her name. I deadpanned. Really? Shitori, Sitor, Citri, and Rimori, either you two are hardcore cosplayers or that's your actual last names. Names that have appeared in certain books outlining demons. Rias facepalmed. I worked so hard on that speech though. What speech? You literally just showed me your wings and asked me to join your club or whatever. Can't let them know I know more than I let on just yet. Akino giggled some more. Kiba actually chuckled. Kaneko was looking right at me. What are you? The white-haired girl asked me. Me, I'm just built different. Kaneko deadpanned. No, she moved closer to me and sniffed me. You smell like a cat, and draw. A glowing red magical circle flared up from the ground. Rias muttered a few choice curse words and glared at the circle as if it had personally offended her. Judging from the sigil, a phoenix, it probably did. I looked at Rias, then her peerage just as the magical circle began to get brighter. I stood up, and grabbed Rias' shoulder. Alright everyone, we're going on a quick field trip. Grab onto Rias if you want to come along. Rias looked at me questioningly but didn't shake my hand away. Akino sauntered over and wrapped her arms around my arm, pressing her large breasts into my side. Kaneko grabbed the hem of Rias' skirt, while Kiba just shook his head with a smile and grabbed onto Kaneko's shoulder. I assume you have supernatural abilities too? Rias asked me. I grinned, then teleported us to the front gates of where the abandoned church used to stand. Kiba stumbled a little but caught himself. Kaneko looked nauseous, while Akino and Rias looked around in shock. Wait, it was you. Rias jumped back and pointed a finger at me. Guilty, I grinned. 10 comments 0 vote, come over for dinner. What exactly are you? Rias stood in front of me with her arms crossed. That's for me to know, and for you to ... I gave her a smug look. She looked betrayed. No, please. I don't like mysteries. Bushu, it's fairly obvious that he is aware of the supernatural world, so it's only fair to assume that he's a part of it. Kiba stated. I glanced over to the twink-shaped swordsman. That'd be a pretty smart assumption to make, but assumptions are usually wrong. He smiled at me. For some reason I feel like you had a rude thought about me, Kentaro-san. Nonsense, Kaneko, back me up, tell him I'm a nice guy. Kaneko nodded. You're okay, you shared your food with me. I smiled and nodded. See, I'm a very nice person. Akino giggled behind her hand. Bribing a young girl with food to get her to agree with you, how shady, Kentaro-kun. You take that back. I glared at her. You shameless pervert, don't think I haven't noticed you going around commando all day. Akino's teasing grin slid off her face. What, how did you know that my panties went missing? I blinked. Crap, oh will you look at the time, gonna be late for class, bye. I vanished in a flash of blue-green light. The Occult Research Club spent the rest of the day looking for me. To be fair, lunch was only an hour and I did strand them in a location that was a 30-minute walk away from the school. I avoided them expertly, dodging Rias' peerage by jumping into empty classrooms and teleporting away to another part of the school. By the time the last bell rang to signal the end of the day, I had evaded them over a dozen times. I quietly slipped into a restroom and teleported home. I erected a veil and stepped into my house. I'm home, I called to Anna and Miette who were in the living room watching TV. Welcome home my love. Anna smiled at me. Asia stepped out of the kitchen. She had flour streaked across her forehead. Sir Kentaro, welcome back. I'm just making some pasta. Please sit down and relax while I start cooking dinner. Asia, you don't need to do that. I patted her head while wiping away the flour. But, I don't want to be a burden. She looked down. You'll never be a burden, now show me what you have so far. I'll help you finish up. Her smile returned, brightening her downcast face. Okay, I'm making raviolis. Cool, I'll get started on some marinara sauce then. I returned her smile. Scene break. I was back in the Occult Research Club room the next day, a pass to get out of class in my possession from the chairman of the academy. Though I'm pretty sure that it was actually from Sona since she liked to cosplay as the school headmaster. Right, let's forget about the other day, I think it's best if we start again, beginning with proper introductions. Rias stated from behind her ornate desk. Tuju Kaneko, my secret baby sister started. Kiba Yuto, or Yuto Kiba I guess. The other male member in the room added. I think I don't need an introduction, you're already very familiar with me right? Akino smiled at me, the smile promising pain. Akino, Rias sighed. Fine, Himahima Akino, queen of the peerage. Akino rolled her eyes. Last but not least, I am Rias Grimori, heiress to the Grimori clan. Do you want me to introduce myself? Full titles and all. Rias nodded with a smile. I stood up and waved to everyone. Hey everyone, my name is Kentaro, Duke Consort of the Duchy of Toussaint, former knight-errant of Beauclair and husband to Duchess Anna Henrietta, and proud father to Princess Miette. Everyone stared at me in open-mouthed shock. WWH what? Rias exclaimed. Era, oh my, a father at such a young age, Akino giggled, how delightfully sinful. Wait, you guys actually believe me? I raised an eyebrow. Why wouldn't we? You haven't given us a reason to doubt you. Kiba replied. I hummed, I don't know how to feel about that. You guys were supposed to be like, Kya royalty. Or, I don't believe you. Pixar it didn't happen, now I don't know what to say. I crossed my arms. Kentaro, you don't want me to call you Lord do you? Rias glanced at me. Nah, it's a pain in the ass. Just call me Kentaro or Ken, I don't really care. I shrugged. Kaneko was silent the whole time. She walked over to me and stared right at me. Her little brows furrowed. Why do you smell and look exactly like my sister? Her voice was even, but I could hear a slight waver. I stiffened. You have a sister. Don't lie, looks can be coincidental, but scents are entirely different. Kaneko kept staring at me. Around me Rias and her peerage were watching with rapt attention. I sighed, then dropped the energy hiding my extra ears and tails. Rias gasped. Akino muttered a nearly silent, Era. Kiba's eyebrows disappeared into his hairline. Meanwhile, Kaneko just stared with wide eyes. Her lower lip trembled, then she took a step forward. I expected a hug, not the nasty right hook she delivered to my gut. I doubled over with a wheeze before a quick application of reverse curse technique made the pain vanish. What the hell was that for? I asked the cat girl. Sorry, she muttered, you just look so much like my sister that I reacted on instinct. Rias stepped towards us. Kentaro, are you a yukai? I sighed, then nodded. I just found out recently myself. My heritage and my memories were sealed away until I unlocked them. Rias cupped her chin, then she looked directly into my eyes. Please, reconsider joining my peerage. Sorry, the answer is still no. I smiled helplessly, while concealing my ears and tails again. Kaneko looked a little disappointed but she didn't say anything. She just sat down on the couch and pulled out a bag of cookies from somewhere and began to munch on them quietly. Era, now I'm really interested in you Kentaro-kun. Akino started stepping towards me. Rias wasn't one to give up though. She grabbed my hand, making me look at her. A bet then. We make a bet. If I win you join my peerage, if you win then. Then, I didn't pull away. Then I do whatever you want. She exclaimed. Oh, a devil trying to make a deal with little old me. I grinned, and such an open-ended one at that. What if I demand your virginity? Rias wasn't fazed. Then I'd happily give it to you. I pulled my hand away. Hey, you're determined I'll give you that. Making a bet like that though, you must be really confident that you'll win. Rias blushed. I saw Akino smirking at her from the corner of my vision. Do you agree? Sure, why not? I sat down next to Kaneko and took a cookie out of her hand making her pout. What's the bet? I was surprised that Kaneko didn't attack me for stealing her cookie. It seemed that everyone else was too. Rias blinked her shock away and stared at me with a competitive glint in her eyes. My peerage against you, she stated, making the aforementioned individuals look her way. In a fight right, two of you are my type but, I glanced at Kiba, sorry dude, no offense but I don't swing that way. He chuckled, none taken. Not a physical fight, that would be unfair. Yeah for you, I smirked at Rias. She giggled, Kentaro-kun, you might have a teleportation ability, but that wouldn't help you against my whole peerage. Sure, sounds to me like you're just chicken. Rias' smile became strained. No, I'm just trying to be fair. Bakik, I imitated a chicken. Fine, you're on. Meet us at the gym after school. I smirked. Get ready to lose. No you. Rias pouted. I laughed. Even as I walked out of the clubroom I heard Akino giggling on Rias' behalf. Scene break. Rias and her entire peerage stood across from me while I did some stretches. Rias looked like she had already written the bet off as her win while Kaneko and Kiba looked cautious. Don't you have another peerage member? I remember when you sent Kaneko-chan and that one pervert to my house to stalk me. Whatever happened to that guy? Rias' expression darkened. I didn't send them to stalk you, and that guy is gone. He offered no value to my peerage so I reclaimed my peace and had his memories altered. My, how cold. I grinned. Are you gonna do the same to me if I don't obey your commands? Rias vehemently shook her head. Never, you're already so much more valuable than he was. So you see me as an object, is that it? I couldn't help but to continue teasing her. No, the Grimori clan treat our servants like family, I would never mistreat you in any way. Rias snapped. If you say so, are you guys ready to fight? I turned to her peerage. Kaneko nodded. Kiba just summoned a sword while Akeno gave me a menacing grin while lightning began to flicker between her fingers. Rias took a step back with a wide smile. They're more than ready, get ready to join my peerage Kentaro-kun. I reached out my hand dramatically and summoned Dark Sister from my inventory. The Occult Research Club took a step back in caution as I drew the sword. Sword birth, I heard Rias mutter. Nope, just a nifty little trick to store things away when I don't need them. I replied. Attack, Rias shouted. I took a relaxed stance as Kiba and Kaneko rushed forward. Akeno took to the sky, her devil wings holding her aloft. Bright blue arcs of lightning dancing around her form. Not too late to give up Kentaro-kun. Rias teased. I should say the same to you. I vanished in a flash of light. Reappearing behind Kaneko, I swung my sword down in a slash aimed at her back. Kiba intercepted my attack with surprising speed. I saw him grit his teeth as he was forced to endure the weight of my strike. Kaneko wasn't idle. She punched at my chest, forcing me to spin away only to dodge again as a bolt of electricity scorched the ground where I had originally landed. Kiba retaliated with several slashes. He had technique, but his form was all over the place. If Geralt hadn't trained me all those months ago, I would have called Kiba an excellent swordsman. I held out my hand again and summoned Dusk to my offhand. Kiba was forced to backpedal as I began to attack him from multiple angles, giving him no time to counter. I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I backflipped as Kaneko's fist impacted the ground where I had just been standing. A grin formed on my face. I hadn't felt this excited in months. Sure, they weren't really a match for me if I went all out, but they were coordinated and their teamwork was on point. I teleported multiple times, slower than I usually would so that they'd actually have time to react. Kaneko was slowly running out of steam. Kiba wasn't faring much better. He sported multiple small wounds on his arms and legs. I glanced up just as Akeno launched one of the biggest bolts of lightning she's released since the fight started. I returned the swords to my inventory and caught the bolt in my hands, making Akeno gape in shock. Then I threw it right back at her. She let out a scream as she failed to dodge it on time. The bolt of lightning had caught her in the wing. She fell towards the ground. Rias shouted out her name in worry, but I caught her. I gently set her down, then turned my attention to Kiba and Kaneko, who were warily looking at me. Smiling, I took a fighting stance. Come on, don't tell me you've given up already. Kaneko stepped forward, but Rias called out to her. Kaneko, stop, you two are clearly no match for him. He's been toying with you two since the spar started. Kaneko looked down sadly, while Kiba grit his teeth. I could relate to how he felt. I had felt that way when Geralt kicked my ass in our earlier training sessions before I had assimilated the Elder Blood. Rias stepped forward. I guess it's up to me now. 2 orbs of dark red magic formed from twin magic circles in her hands. I felt the destructive force in the orbs from where I stood. Oh, are we doing magic now? I asked. Take this, Rias shouted as she threw the orbs of destruction at me. I teleported out of the way, making Rias blink in shock at how easily I had dodged her attacks. She giggled nervously while I stood in front of her. Ah, I give up. I flicked her on the nose, making her pout. You lose. Mo, you cheated. I call hacks. Rias crossed her arms. I chuckled. Told you it would be unfair. Besides, be happy I took it easy on you guys. Or else this gym might be more damaged than it is now. Rias in her peerage glanced around at the scorched floor, the holes blasted through the walls, and the splintered flooring from where Kaneko's punch had landed. Tee oops, I'm sure my brother can pay to have it fixed. Rias giggled while waving me off. I sighed. Well, you lost a bet, so here's my demand. Rias stiffened before I continued. Come over to my place for dinner. Ha, she looked at me in shock. Era, inviting our president for a date. Kentaro senpai, pervert, Kaneko muttered. What, how? I looked at the white-haired girl in confusion. What will your wife think? Kiba added, seemingly over how badly he had lost in a sword fight. TCH, whatever, just come over for dinner sometime. I'll make lots of food if you want to invite your whole peerage. Rias was silent for a moment, then she spoke. All right, I accept, but don't expect me to give up trying to recruit you. Sure, knock yourself out. I waved her off. 38 comments 0 vote. Bonus chapter. Pav. Geralt. I turned to face Triss as she walked into our bedroom in Corvo Bianco. She had just finished taking a bath and had nothing but a towel wrapped around her body. What's wrong? Still thinking about Ciri? Triss asked. She's out on a hunt in the area. There's a few vampires left wandering around the countryside. She'll be fine, Geralt, Triss said as she sat on my lap. I know, I'm also thinking about Ken. Oh, what about the Duke consort? Triss smiled. They had made quick friends, at my expense. Every time Ken and Anna visited to see Sylvia, the Duchess's sister, Ken would do everything he could to make sure that I'd have a headache by the end of the day. I didn't even know how that happened. As a witcher I was supposed to be more resistant to such things like headaches. I'm wondering what would happen if he and Cirilla were to meet. Oh, they are around the same age. Triss hummed. That's not the point, I grumbled, they're both chaotic, brash, and a little too confident. So, they're young Geralt, they're supposed to be brash and confident. Triss replied. They also both carry the blood of Lara Doran. The elder blood, I sighed. So, the wild hunt is gone, we destroyed them in Skellige years ago. Triss shifted on my lap. Triss, Ciri is impulsive. If she met him, there's no doubt in my mind that she would go with him to whatever insane adventure he probably gets up to. Well, the palace guards said something about the Duke and Duchess going off in a vacation a while ago. Ciri won't run into them soon. Still, I grumbled. Triss laughed. Ah, is the adoptive father feeling protective of his daughter? No, Triss continued to laugh, it'll be fine, probably. I let out a grunt and lifted Triss off my lap, I need a bath. Water should still be warm. Triss called after me as I walked into the bathing room. Scene break. Roach moved at a steady pace through the Toussaint countryside. I watched people move about carrying on their daily tasks. My thoughts swirled back to the eccentric young man I had met by chance over a year ago. Something felt off in my mind. I felt as if I had met him before, which should be impossible as I would have remembered meeting someone with the elder blood. Especially when carriers of the trait were usually more often than not, women. It felt like a memory that I couldn't reach. It had bothered me enough that I needed to go for a ride through Toussaint to think on it. Children ran around Roach as I got closer to Beauclair. It made me think about Ken and the Duchess. They had surprised everyone when they had announced their marriage, even more so when the Duchess revealed her pregnancy. I thought about that strange scholars I met in Flotsam years ago. Farid and Gaspar, two scholars researching Witcher physiology. They had given me a potion that would apparently grant me new abilities. I drank it with little worry, knowing that even if it was poison, my body would be able to filter it out. It hadn't been poison. I had received a letter from them weeks ago, in it they had told me that I may or may not be able to have children now. That had been a bit of a kick to the balls. If they had found a way to reverse the sterilization that was the result of the Witcher trials then. I cleared my thoughts forcefully, I didn't want to think of the implications yet. I still wasn't sure I was fit to be a father. Geralt, a familiar voice called to me. I turned to the sound and spotted Ciri waving at me from a food stall. I quickly maneuvered Roach to a post where I slipped her reins around a ring. Ciri, how was the hunt? Easy, she replied, it was just a Felder. It was hiding in a cave with a few bandit corpses around the entrance. What are you doing here? I thought you were spending the day with Triss. I shook my head. Triss had to return to Kovir for an important meeting. I decided to go for a ride. I see, well, want to join me? Alright, what are we doing? An easy task, Alfred here, she gestured at the food vendor, has been getting extorted by his neighbor, I figured I'd lend a hand. So, are you coming? Ciri asked even as she already started walking away. Fine. Somehow, we ended up uncovering a illegal gambling operation that was a front for an even larger smuggling ring that traded in human organs. I wondered why all my hunts and prior contracts ended the same way. I'd set out to hunt a drowner, only to get dragged into some convoluted plot or an equally tedious task like herding livestock because the man whose help I needed could not accomplish his task without his goat. That was fun. Ciri laughed as she sat down across from me in the tavern with 2 tankards of ale. Sure, at least I didn't end up covered in foul-smelling fluids this time. I sighed. That was one time, Geralt, one time. How was I supposed to know that the ghoul would explode? Ciri, you teleported the ghoul 1,000 feet into the air. I was trying something. Ciri pouted. Whatever. Hey, how about a round of Gwent? Gwent, I glanced at her. Yeah, the card game. I have everyone's card. Zoltan, Dandelion, you, even Triss and Yennefer too. They made cards of us. Yeah, I don't know where the card game started, but there's apparently tournaments and collectors pay good money for rare cards. Tell me more. I leaned forward. Sure, this is how you play. Support my work down below. Donate through VENM0 at Terror 404. Ko-fi, just remove the spaces. https skeptical smiley face Ko-fi.com Terror 404. To be continued.